What scriptures support these ideas? Today we're discussing Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Now, things to keep in mind about this book and when it was written and who it was written by, we have to do a little backstory. So the book was written in 1960. I think it was published again in like 1963 based off of the copy that I have in my possession. This is considered a self-help book. And from the concept of Napoleon Hill, you just supposed to think and grow rich. But if we looking at the cost of living in the 1960s versus the cost of living in 2025, it's drastically different. You also have to take into account what scriptures were used for this book. And that there seems to be a trend, even though the writers don't necessarily just come out and say, hey, I use these scriptures to give me more insight, and that opened up my talents to where I was able to write this masterpiece that people love. We got to look at it deeper than what it is instead of just surface level, because sometimes people look at it like, oh, they took $100 and he made $1 million out of $100. Well, how did he do that? How did he think and grow rich, right? That is a little bit more, there's a little bit more detail that's not being given for the concept, because to be honest with you, if you're looking at it from an empathic frame of thought where you're utilizing your skills, you know that your talents is what grows your wealth. We also know that the scriptures are teaching us an alchemical method of demonstrating how to use our God-given talents so that we can grow our wealth as well. The problem is people try to convince other people that they are not supposed to be confident in themselves. Why? Because you have so many people telling folks to be humble. If you look the word humble up, you would recognize that it don't even mean what people are suggesting that it means. But they misquote and mislead people with the Bible scriptures, and most of the scriptures are saying the same things, and the ones that's not really saying the same is not really coming from a standpoint of what it was intended to mean from jump. It was misquoted or misunderstood and put out into the atmosphere, and people are being misled. But enough about that. Now, there are several scriptures in the Bible that encompass the ideas of this book, Think and Grow Rich. Now, one of them, or several of them, are Proverbs. And there's a lot of Proverbs in here, a lot of Philippians in here, in this book of concepts. And then when you look at it for what it is, it's basically, the book is being diligent and hardworking. Well, we know that that's not true. You don't have to be hardworking, because Jesus said, my yoke is easy and my burdens are light. So we know we don't have to be hardworking. We just have to be intentional about what we're doing. Hard work and intentions, having intentions or being intentional, is not the same. Being intentional is a focused energy on what your outcome is. So you're not allowing distractions just to pop up as they do. Another concept is the power of thought and focus. Okay, the power of thought and focus. What is that exactly? It's just having a goal. What is your goal? What outcome do you want to have happen from the events that are going to take place? What is the end result that you're looking for based off your talents that you've given from jump? Another concept from the book is faith and belief in achieving your goals. Well, we know the faith of a mustard seed. You just got to have the faith of a mustard seed, right? Well, we know that's confidence. You have to be confident that you're going to achieve what you're saying you're going to achieve. And that's that. And then finally, we have the importance of planning and counsel. Well, we know that making a plan or an outcome, well, we just going to tap into our higher selves. We don't have to plan anything. We just ask a question day or night, and then we're given the information based off of what we are asking. Because our best versions of ourselves are already here on earth. We don't have to seek it out. We have to just accept and align ourselves with our higher selves. But our higher selves is with us whether we aligned with it or not. It's there. We just have to tap into that power that we have. And we do have God-given talents. Everybody does. Sometimes peoples are stifled by other people who just don't know better, or their powers were stifled. But thinking and growing rich based off of the times we're in and the concepts of what is existing now, well, you have to put it in a mindset of where you are currently in the space. Because if you are utilizing what someone said back in the 60s in 2025, you're going to be very frustrated because the cost of living was drastically different. People was able to live off of like $6,000 a year. A house didn't cost them but like $12,000. A new house didn't cost but like $12,000. A dozen eggs cost 57 cents. Gas prices was 31 cents. A car cost maybe $3,000. A new car cost maybe $3,000 in the 60s versus 2025. College, oh my gosh, what they were paying for college, maybe like $6,000 for 4 years of a basic college in state with the dorms, the books, everything that you would get for college. $6,000 for a 4-year degree versus 2025. So it's drastically different. So your mindset is going to have to be different. You're going to have to put the mindset based on where you are now. You can't use the information that people have created in the past and think that it's equivalent or it's not unequivalent, but it has to be transferred into it has to be transcended to fit the now, the present moment. Like the words have to, you got to change the words around because you're not working hard to do it because you'll piss yourself off. If you think you're going to work hard to get something, no, you have to look at the wording and change it to what it actually means. Working diligently, it just means don't get distracted. Be intentional and do not get distracted. Be intentional. That's it. That's all it is. Diligently working. Don't get distracted. Probably should have just said, don't get distracted. Be intentional. But he said what fit the time what he was in. Because being hardworking, what does that equate to? That means that you're being intentional about what you're doing. If you're hard at work. People take it out of context. But the way that it's written makes you think that you physically working hard, but you're not physically working hard. He didn't say physically work hard. He just said diligence and hard work. Diligence just means being unrelentless about what you're doing. Intentions. What is setting your intentions? Being intentional about what you're doing. If you put intentions on what you're doing, because you paying it some attention, nothing can distract you from doing that. So it's not, hard work. Oh, you got to be working hard. No, you have to pay attention to what you're doing and be completely intentional about that task. Oh, this is the outcome that I have set for myself, and these are the ways that I am going to accomplish this outcome. So my intentions are fully set here. I have tunnel vision on this. That's an even better way of saying it. Just having tunnel vision, focused on what it is that you're accomplishing. Because if you just thinking that you're going to get up and, oh, I got to work hard. Yeah. And people that tell you that, he means that you physically got to work hard. They're misguided. He didn't physically work hard to make this book. He used scriptures and studied and focused on the scriptures and gained insight that allowed him to write the words. He was just tapped into his higher self. That's usually what happens. And you energetically, if you're reading the energy from what he was saying, you can tell that he needed to do this. He had to be able to do this so that he can make money. How do you make money? You make money by utilizing your God-given talents. Because your talents is money. That's the biggest lie that people have been making people feel and just not explaining flat out. But people have to know it's not money. Money isn't money. Your talent is the money. Because your talent is yours. Can't nobody take your talent from you. That's God-given. But you can lose it if you don't use it. So breaking down these books and putting them in a mindset of where you are today is going to be helpful. Because even in Proverbs, it says, a slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. That's Proverbs 10:4. So if you're intentional about what you're doing, okay, I'm intentionally going to use my talents. And my talents are going to grow because I'm going to think and grow rich. Well, where are your talents housed? Are they in your brain? What do your brain do? It thinks. So you can think and grow rich. Yeah, he was definitely tapped into scriptures. You can tell it just off the title alone. Think and grow rich. And this is just it's a book about principles of success, wealth, and personal achievement. But this book is written from an outcome concept. If you're reading it and you're looking at it from what it is, he had a goal in mind. And he created the steps to accomplish that goal. Okay, so this is the outcome that I would like to have achieved. How do I get there? What are the steps that's going to get me there? And that's how the book was written. This isn't written from a standpoint of, I've already done this. This is written from a standpoint of, this is how I get to this point. And most people's books are written from those standpoints. They're written from I'm confident in myself that I can get people to believe this. But this belief is only coming from scriptures, which are just pretty much riddles that you have to break down, which is interesting because riddles help you to explore different frames of concepts, because every level of consciousness, which is emotional levels of consciousness, has a different idea or energy with the riddle, which is why there will be many takes on how a topic can be described or interpreted by many different people, because there are so many different levels of consciousness. It's infinite. infinite ways. So it really debunks the ideal of there's only one or two right ways. There are many right ways, and one person can't tell anyone else, well, your way is wrong. You can't say that because there are so many different ways of thinking. If I had to give this book a rating, it's a good book if you like this kind of self-help book. I do own a copy because you know how it's just people searching. Everyone's searching for something in some way and all of these things, and people have all of these magical ways of doing things, and literally it all turns back to the scriptures. That's literally what it boils down to. Because they're not saying just the obvious. They're saying things that go around in circles, which is really interesting because it doesn't require so many words to say something basic, which is why the scriptures are not necessarily filled with so much, and it'll be just a phrase that you can take and just expand upon that. I wouldn't rate this book because it's written in a time where people literally could buy a brand new house for what, $12,000, whereas today a brand new house, you definitely not buying a brand new house for $12,000 in 2025. A brand new house will cost you closer to like maybe $450,000 for a brand new house, like land, all those fixtures and everything, brand new. The problem with a lot of these books, in my recollection, is that they're just not being honest about where the information came from. They're making it seem as if the information came directly from them, but it actually comes from scripture. But if you just tell people it's coming from the scripture, then you won't have people being misguided and thinking that this person just is so innovative. And they are innovative, right? They have concepts, but the concepts are stemming from a scripture. So ponder the scripture, because if you just sit up and you read this person's words, they'll have you believing that, you just suck. Basically, you are a sucky person because you can't figure out how to navigate or grow yourself into a rich person, but you've always been rich. That's the lie right there. Think and grow rich. Well, live and grow rich. Live and be intentional. Be intentional and grow rich. Better way of saying it. Means the same, essentially, but a better way of saying it. Because people don't be confident and grow rich. Like, what other things do you need? Because people have the attributes already. You're great at so many things already. We are great at so many things already. We have skill sets that are workable skill sets that we can just use for ourselves. But no one teaches children early in life that, hey, you're great at observation. Your observation skills are very superb. Oh, you are very detail oriented. People don't tell their children those things. And so the children grow up into being adults and they lack confidence in themselves because no one tells them all the good things that they're able to do. And let's be honest, your child is going to be looking at you strange when you say it. Hey, you're very observant. Oh, you have really good orientation skills, detail orientation skills. Hey, you're very meticulous about things. That's very good. That's a workable skill. Oh, you have a lot of courage. You're confident. And we know that children are just confident and have courage. They go to schools or daycares around people they don't know very well. You have to have courage to do that. You have to have confidence to do that. But if you're lacking courage and confidence in yourself, you're going to believe that you or are living in a depressed mindset and you have anxiety. And let's just be honest, anxiety is stress. Anxiety is worrying. It's all it is. But they say anxiety and people get so wrapped up in, oh, I don't have anxiety. Everyone experiences some level of stress, which means everyone can have some form of anxiety. It's just worrying. You have to not worry. Depression is sadness, loneliness. I mean, not feeling confident in yourself. That's a form of depression. People are not putting the words in context, and so people believe that they are not experiencing any of these traits. But you have to know how to get rid of that BS, because you have to believe in yourself, regardless of what other people around you is doing and saying. That's what all of these books and scriptures boil down to. Hey, you have an inheritance. You're already wealthy. You just have to learn how to use your wealth. What is your money? Your talent. You're talented at many, many things. Go through the list of the things that you're talented in. Ask yourself, align with your higher self, and ask yourself, what am I talented in? What are my talents? How many talents do I have? How do I use my talents? Here, how do I grow them? Not just use them. What are all the ways that I can utilize my talents? That's a good question. Now, how do I utilize my talents and grow them into wealth that is going to sustain myself and the generations after me? And how do I continuously grow those talents that I have? Oh, your money has to make money. Your talents have to make money. Your talents make you more money. When you think about it in a different concept, in a different method of thinking, it transcends you into another higher level of thought, which think and grow rich. Yes. You would think and grow rich because you're transcending the level of consciousness that you're already on, which you would have to do. You would have to. In order to be able to grow your talents. We talking about God-given talents. Some of y'all are naturally creative in growing or putting colors together, cooking, braiding hair, planting crops and flowers, arranging things. You have so many interests. Some of y'all are just naturally talented at doing things. Some of you all learn something and you're naturally talented at what you've learned. You become an expert in what you've learned. Some of you all have natural skills. Guess what? It's all of y'all. It's all of us. I'm great at research. Have been since day one. I can write really good letters. I'm great at making thumbnails, I think. In my opinion, I am. I am, in my opinion. I am. I ain't gonna even lie. I am. But the fact of the matter is, you have to be able to tap into yourself. What are you good at? Because you're literally here just to inspire by doing. And if anyone is discouraging you, then they're not living up to what they're supposed to be doing, because they're not supposed to do that. Like the first thought that, and it's interesting because the scriptures help you to think in ways that allow you to not discourage other people from what their talents are. But most people have I ain't gonna even say most people, a lot of people have low self-esteem, and they don't even be tripping off the fact that they discourage someone else, or they're trying to. It's that low self-esteem man in them coming out. But that's because they're too much in the world in their thoughts.